and welcome to this week's Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
I'm Sarah.
And we're going to give you our comic book reading recommendations for the week. And let's start with Sarah this
Awesome.
week.
All right. So this week I picked Thor number 32. Right now it's a story. I pick it up because I love Jane. I'm not going to lie. I'll be straight up there. So Jane, of course, is in this as Valkyrie. But Thor is... there's all sorts of timeline things, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on. So if you haven't been picking it up, I know we have a couple of copies of the last couple of issues where the story started. But essentially, Dr. Doom, we've learned in this issue... we learned a little bit last issue, but we really start to understand in this issue that Dr. Doom has kidnapped Hela, and he's trying to do some kind of ritual that will put him in charge of both the living and the dead. And so it's really interesting.
Is this going back to his mommy issue stuff? Is that the
God,
incentive?
it might be.
Yeah, right?
It could be.
Yeah,
We haven't gotten too terribly much into it yet, but yeah. So Hela's in this like tube, and you actually feel kind of bad for her because she's just, I don't know, she's like trying to prevent him from doing some stupid things, and of course he doesn't want to listen to her. So meanwhile, Thor and Valkyrie are trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Odin has been in Thor's hammer, and now all of a sudden the voice has stopped talking through Mjolnir. So he's trying to figure out what happened to his... Did his dead dad die again? Is essentially the question they're trying to understand.
How many times has Odin died this decade? In Marvel
What is dead may never die. Unless it does die, then it's dead. But.
So it just becomes a question of like what's happening to people in the afterlife and things like that.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
but it's an interesting story. I always love when Jane and Thor team up to try and figure stuff out. So it's a good read.
They got a good buddy dynamic going.
Yeah. I think there's another issue left in this story arc. The next one concludes it. But it's been interesting. So I'd recommend it. Yeah. Fritz, what'd you pick?
I picked the new Unstoppable Doom Patrol #1 from DC, part of their new Dawn of DC kind of like soft like relaunch. We started last couple of weeks with like Action and Superman, and like this is one of the first real like new titles to come out of it. And so we've got kind of like the classic team. You've got Robot Man, you've got Negative Man, Elasti-Woman. I've got Crazy Jane as the new chief. There seems to be something going on in the background with the old chief. He's probably being kept on the back burner because he's a bit of a jerk, so they probably don't want him around as much. But we've also got new characters, Beast Girl, and in this issue, it kind of starts off as the monster they have to fight Degenerate. But yeah, they're basically going around after the recent Lazarus Planet crossover. A bunch of people are developing powers, and a lot of those powers are not like super helpful at first, and they kind of cause havoc. So they're going around and like saving people, trying to like make sure that they're taken care of instead of just being tossed in the government lab or something. And spoiler, the government's not happy about that, so that's going to be something they've got to deal with. We've also got old Doom Patrol villains like the Brain and Mr. Mala showing up, General Immortus. So like, it's really delving into like a lot of history of the characters, some new stuff's being tossed in. Basically, it's one of those titles that's almost perfectly like geared towards like drawing in new and old fans of Doom Patrol.
Well, I am familiar with the Doom Patrol characters, but I haven't read a ton of Doom Patrol, and I felt like this was a nice soft entry into a Doom Patrol title.
Like,
I could tell that I didn't understand all the background for everything, but they set it up in such a way that I was like, okay, I get the gist of this, and now we can do something with these characters.
Yeah, like you get a really good feel for like their characters and their interactions with each other. Like Robot Man Cliff, he can be a bit of like I'm the gruff guy, but I'm also got like the heart of gold kind of deal. Like which if you've heard us talk about Fantastic Four, we love the Thing, and like that kind of character archetype is just always great.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's a really solid. Hopefully, DC's been doing a lot recently where like if a title sells well enough, they could graduate from a mini series to an ongoing. Hopefully, this is one of those that gets to do that. But
We want you to read Doom Patrol.
Yes. Buy more Doom Patrol so Fritz can get more Doom Patrol.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And we were talking about flipping through it yesterday, how the art style just fit Doom Patrol really well.
Chris Burnham's art, like, it's such a good, like, it can be equal parts, like, very, like, superhero, but also, like, really sell, like, the weird, sometimes kind of more disgusting aspects of it. Because, like, Degenerate's powers are
gross.
They're kind of ugly at points. But it's, like, it's very cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. That was on my short list this week also. I ended up going with, thank you, Indigo Children, #1 by Image Comics. I'm not familiar with this creative team at all. I actually just kind of picked this up because it was a #1, and honestly, if you're not reading a #1 by Image every week, you're missing out on about half the books that are published, it seems like. But, and some of them are hit and some of them are missed. I had read the preview of this because every week when we're doing the comic book ordering, we've got to figure out, okay, well, how many #1s of this are we going to need? So we read the, just the brief description of it. So I had a passing familiarity with it. I kept saying wow as I was reading this book because it just kept surprising me, and it's really tough to describe without giving away too much. But the gist of it is that there are apparently a group of children who are exceptionally gifted, and you're not sure how or why. They do start kind of going into that, but again, I don't want to give any of it away. And it's centering around a particular child who, his name is Alexei, and he appears to be Russian, and most of the story is happening in Russia. Some of it is flashbacks to when he was a younger kid. Some of it is current time to where Alexei is now missing. And there's an American journalist who's been given a videotape of an interview of this child, who's extremely gifted, like off the charts gifted. And the child's explanation for why they're so gifted is very shocking. And so this American journalist is trying to figure it out. And everywhere that he goes, he's met with resistance because people are afraid to talk to him. They're afraid that they're going to get, blackbagged or something. So the art was really interesting. It's kind of a limited color palette kind of thing. The writing is very good. You'll go from a page where it's just heavy dialogue to a page where there's almost no dialogue, but the way that it's blended together just keeps pulling you further and further into the story, and you feel kind of like you're going down the rabbit hole.
Sure.
And it completely caught me off guard. I really enjoyed it. I'm very curious to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, like you were telling us, like, kind of more of the in-depth plot details earlier.
Yeah.
And it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to give that many spoilers on the video here, but it totally took me by surprise. I am very, very glad that I picked it up and read it. But that's kind of the fun with comic books. You've got some superhero stuff, you've got some very offbeat superhero stuff, and then you've got some stuff that apparently has nothing to do with superheroes at all. It's just kind of a weird sci-fi suspense kind of stuff. Yeah. There's so much horror.
And Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. There's cute cartoon sharks.
Jeff the Lantern.
Like, it's not all just capes and tights. So, but you already know that because you're watching videos about comic book reviews. So you probably got that. Speaking of which, if you have comic book recommendations that you would like to share this week, please leave them in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow us on all the social media. Check out our website if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on any issues that you see here or any of the other issues that are on the wall this week. And stop into the shop because we like seeing everybody, and it's a great experience to talk to people and hear what they really enjoyed reading. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again next week.
Just gotta start with the "What's up, mother?"